Okay, so we started working together 2 weeks ago. Two,
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. And
Yeah,
you had been dieting for 34 years, right? Trying to lose weight so that you
correct.
could feel better about yourself, etc., etc., etc. Tell me how it has been. Last week we talked, and tell me what your thoughts were about this whole thing. Meaning,
Um,
leaving the diet, leaving the body image, how it felt to you after you practiced eating to hunger, no shame, no guilt, no pressure to lose weight. No, remember the goal was to completely eliminate weight as the goal, right? You told me last week that you were super skeptical. You were like, I'm so sorry, but I honestly thought that this was stupid. Like, it was so skeptical. I was like, no way. Right? Do you remember telling me that?
yep.
And then you said, but I did it, and tell me what the results were.
So just the whole thought of um, not having to go on a diet again, or having to starve myself or deprive myself because the diet is coming, right? So when the diet isn't coming, like you said, Robin, I don't need to eat. I don't need to go out for ice cream. I don't need to eat. I don't need to overeat because it's always going to be there. And that was absolutely huge for me. Like even today, I went out for lunch with my husband. We went to Wendy's. I did not have to get the whole deal. I didn't have to get the fries, the sauces, and I had a bowl of chili. It was awesome. I loved it. Didn't overeat. Um, and it was great. And normally, if I would go to a fast food place, I would have to have ice cream and the whole deal, and just have to have it all, you know. And then I'd be consumed about continuing to have it all, because I did that. Went up to Wendy's anyways. Went up for junk food, fast food. I'd have to continue through the day, maybe through the week, of just eating terrible, because the thought is, I messed up big time. I might as well keep it going, because when Monday comes, or like you said, when January comes, I'm not going to have a piece of it for a very, very long time. To throw all that out and to just, eat whatever, it is absolutely mind blowing to me that I can have ice cream whenever I want it. And with this thinking, I'm not going to eat the whole freaking pint. I mean, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Would you say this is life-changing for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it
That
crazy?
part is huge. It is so huge that whole, the only reason that I've ever binged is because the diet is coming.
I know. No, so is that clearer to you today?
It is.
And the pressure to lose weight, right? And the feelings of inadequacy because you feel like you failed. So you might as well get what you can in because there's this impending famine. You see now that the binging that you did is so predictable based on the way you were viewing your body and the need to remove food to fix the body. Do you see that clearly?
I do.
Could you have had this experience if you still felt like you needed to lose weight?
Oh gosh, no.
I know.
No, I mean,
it's impossible because there's still this weird pressure. Okay, so here's my question for you, because before we started this, would you say that you were afraid to give yourself freedom to those foods, that you had thought that maybe if you give yourself that ice cream that you might not be able to stop, that it's so good you can't stop, like an addiction?
Oh my gosh, I've read books on it, Robin. I believed it.
You believed it, and you thought that it was true, right? That it's the food, that it's so pleasurable that they put all of this stuff in it that makes your brain highly reactive to it, and you cannot stop. It literally takes control, right?
Right.
The ice cream is in control. And now we say, okay, well, let's remove this context of losing weight, remove shame, remove guilt, remove fear, completely isolate the sense of, am I hungry? Am I not hungry? What happened to those impulses to binge on ice cream and sugar?
I don't even think, I don't even think about food very often because.
How quickly did this happen for you?
How quick did it happen? Pretty dang quick. I mean, I can't believe it. We've only been talking for 3 weeks.
Yeah, this is our third session. So would you agree that it happened within 24 hours of our meeting? Our first session? Yeah. Not hard.
Of our first session, rather. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're right. So tell me, are you surprised?
I'm super surprised, and I'm super surprised, and I'm so hopeful. Like, I have hope, you know, like I can see the end of this. I mean,
it's within.
All of this has been crazy.
Yeah, it's within your control too. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Like, it's yours. It's not mine. It's not the programs. It's not HCGs. It's not the diet. It's not MetaFast. It's not Jenny Craig. It's not Weight Watchers. This is truly you and your body working together, right? And before, you would have thought, no, my body is flawed. My body needs to be fixed. My health is like catastrophe. I have an addiction to food and sugar and starches and gluten, and I have to have a plan. Remember you saying that to me? You're like, I have to have a plan. If I didn't have a plan, I was flailing around, binging my brains out, just waiting for the next plan to come in and sweep things up. Right? And so at this point, can you see that maybe that is why you struggled, that thought right there?
No.
That if
I felt like I had to be following a program, or had to be, you know, I had to be on something, or I was out of control. Exactly right. Yeah.
So tell me this, if you truly had a food addiction or sugar addiction like you read and you studied and you were convinced you had, would removing the context and the pressure of weight loss have changed the impulses for those foods?
Say that again, Robin.
Well, if you were truly addicted, if it was about the sugar, if it was the addiction to sugar, would you have had such an abrupt drop in impulses to eat it so quickly just by taking away the context of weight loss and the pressure to lose weight and the belief that losing weight would save your life, right?
Yeah, exactly right. It has nothing to do with sugar.
Yeah, if you were addicted, you would still have that insane impulse. The moment you said, okay, I'm hungry, I have an urge for ice cream, Robin said to go get some without shame and guilt. What do you think would happen if you were truly a narcotic addict?
Yeah, you would run to it.
You would binge on it and binge on it and binge on it and binge on it, and it wouldn't have anything to do with shame. It wouldn't have anything to do with self-worth. It would have nothing to do with your upbringing. Anything that has personal responsibility is eliminated. It's always about the sugar. It's always about the drug, right?
Right.
But in reality, how quickly, how simple, how easy, how frail was that addiction?
Oh, well, extremely frail, because once I told myself that I could always have it and it was always accessible, and I put a stinking candy jar in the house.
Yep, like we talked about with your kids.
And I didn't even think about it.
Okay, so tell me, was that an addiction, or what was that?
Oh, heck no. That was just crazy thinking on my part that...
What was the depth? Do you think that it's crazy, though, that if you truly believe that you're going to eliminate food, certain types of foods for a very long time, if not forever, that you would have impulses to hoard it and binge it?
Yeah.
That's not crazy. I think that's actually very logical. Right? But people don't see that the impulse to eat might not be coming from the narcotic or the food. It might be coming from this sense of deprivation that is in the past and in the future, and the pressure to be perfect in terms of elimination, right? The more pressure you have to lose weight for this emotional ego reason, don't you agree that that puts more pressure on the elimination of these foods? So the more desperate you are to lose weight and be healthy, or however you want to call that, the more likely you're to binge on foods out of feeling deprived, because you convince yourself that the only way to lose that weight and the only way to be healthy is to eliminate those foods forever.
Right.
Because it's the blame. Everybody blames food. Everybody blames sugar. Everybody blames carbohydrates. For a long time, people blamed fat. And now you can't eat. I mean, just consider how much blame is out there. Like, it's really, is it really food? Is that truly to blame? Because if that's what you're teaching, preaching, and telling everybody, you're basically taking all personal responsibility away. Right? Like, wouldn't you agree that you spent most of your life for over 34 years negotiating with this diet culture for why you've earned food?
Absolutely.
It's nuts, right? There's something else too. We are now in the holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. I mean, we are amidst the most gluttonous time in our culture, right? Culturally, food, and there's types of foods, and there's spreading love with food and caring and giving food to the poor and the homeless, right? Wouldn't you agree that right now it's a very culturally important time of year in America?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And around the world, right? Around the world, really. If you look at all the different religions in the winter solstice and why we celebrate this time of year. Does the diet cult give a shit about cultural needs?
No.
No. So guess what? If you're Jewish, you can't have that fried bread. If you're a Christian, you can't have any of that food. You can't have the chocolates. You can't have nuts, right? Now there's bad things with nuts. You can't have the cakes. You can't have any of it, right? Because the diet religion speaks louder than the cultural religion, right? If your diet religion wasn't as important as your cultural religion or your spiritual religion, would you have shame and guilt over eating a chocolate candy that a friend brought over and made for you? Would you have shame and guilt over that?
No.
You wouldn't. You're right. However, if you believe that the diet religion is more important and more valuable, would you give yourself lenience to live in this American culture right now?
No.
You wouldn't.
If I was in the diet culture, no.
No, you would end up, it's like a battle between our culture with food and the diet religion. And how many people want to express and be a part of this culture during Christmas and Hanukkah and all that? How many people really want to enjoy these specific foods that are passed down, like my grandma's recipe, my grandma's recipe, these things that we do that are very symbolic, they're very cultural as a human, right? We want to do this, but the diet religion says, you can't have that. You should be eating something different. If you can't have that food, you should be eating this instead. Right?
Right. Yeah, I see that connection and how that the diet industry is just depriving us of our culture. Yeah.
It is. It's very depriving of culture. However, do we really let go of the culture? No. We just end up binging in shame and guilt, like we feel like we have failed, right? And then the diet religion comes around in January, right, and says, you're forgiven, give us your money, we will fix this.
We dump our money into the next thing.
I know it. I know it. How many people out there, how many of you out there, how many years have you made weight loss your New Year's resolution? Think about it. How many years would you say you spent maybe 30 Januaries trying to lose weight? 30, 20, somewhere in there?
Oh, easy.
So what you going to do this January? Do you feel at this point, well, at this point, you're giving yourself a freedom to eat anything, right?
Right.
So you're not following food religion. And now you have this freedom to live in our culture. And tell me, is your impulse to binge?
It is not.
No. Okay, so tell me this. What if, because you're giving yourself freedom to thoroughly enjoy this time of year in the foods, when you are hungry, right? The boundary is your body's biological rhythm there. Are you going to need to lose weight in January?
Oh gosh, no.
No, no, of course not.
Heck no.
If you had believed that you can't have that, that's bad for you, you can't eat that, shame, 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 you can't participate, withhold, right? You would be, on the other hand, binging in total guilt that you suck, shame that you feel like you're a failure, and you would already have a plan come January 2nd to fix all those damages, right?
Right.
Predictable. Can you see how predictable this is?
Yeah.
I know.
You can only hold on to, like you know, Robin, you can only hold on to those diets in January for so long, and then you just go totally backwards.
Oh, well, of course, because they're not realistic. They're only meant to starve your body and to lose body fat so that you can feel comfortable with yourself in society, right? So tell me this, do you feel healthier now than you did before?
I think I feel healthier now because I'm not binging. I can't even believe that I haven't for 3 weeks. I haven't. That's incredible that I haven't stuffed myself on just mindless eating crap.
Has this been hard for you?
But I do know that I have eaten when I'm not hungry, though. You know what I mean? It's almost out of habit. I'm eating this. Why am I?
But you're catching yourself now, right? You're catching it, and you're not feeling bad about it. You're just realizing, oh, I need to stop. Okay, now do you notice how there's so much?
Yeah.
Notice how much grace is in that. How much you get to learn. You're learning from that, right? If this was a diet, you'd have pressure to be perfect with that hunger scale. And how would you feel if you realize I'm eating and I'm not hungry? How would that feel?
Yeah.
Like
and
you failed.
Is it boredom? Is it that I'm stressed? What makes me do it when I don't listen to the body and all of a sudden I catch myself eating? Why?
Yeah, well, you need to figure that out. Could be a little bit of anxiety, nervousness. A lot of people eat out of procrastination. They're anxious about something that they feel the pressure to get done and to do right or to do perfect. And eating becomes a natural pacifier, and it's And the thing is this: you spent 30 some years dieting. All of those habits were created because of the diet belief system. You wouldn't be eating otherwise, right? So now you get rid of the diet. Now we're just dealing with some conditioning, right? This is easy. Really consider how hard your life was 3 weeks ago. We snap our fingers, and how hard is it today? Compare the two.
Right. Yeah. And right now, when I notice myself eating, I can stop. I don't have to finish it and continue on. I can just be oh, why am I doing that? I'm not even hungry. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, and you can always skip more later if you're hungry. So there's no pressure. There's no weird. You should notice that in general you have less anxiety. In general, that you feel like there's symptoms of depression that is lifting from you.
Yeah. And this week, just since we spoke last, we spoke about just having fun, right? Just letting loose and just having more fun. And I feel like I've really done that because without all that negative self-talk and just simply the part about I don't have to lose weight and I don't have to be a certain size or I feel like I'm just I can have so much more fun now because I'm not just consumed with me.
No, how is the relationship with your husband?
Good. Great. We have a lot of fun together. And
would you say it's improved? It is improved since you are feeling like a worthy human being, even though your weight hasn't really changed at all. How is your sex drive? Is your sex drive increasing?
In the last 3 weeks, maybe in the last week, yes.
The last week. So all of a sudden you're just, and that could be menstrual, who knows? But I think too, for a woman, when we feel attractive, based on what we believe is attractive, right? We're more willing to share ourselves and be vulnerable. You know, being a woman is a vulnerable position to be in. So having that sense of my husband loves me and he thinks I'm beautiful inside and out and I'm gorgeous. I'm a good person. I'm a worthy individual. And you know what? I am desirable as a human being, as a human being. And why shouldn't I live a comfortable sexual life with my spouse? Right?
Right.
Where a lot of women with body image issues, they close themselves off from that. And they don't realize that their life is passing. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And how are your children doing, right? Because you said that they were like, you made them a part of this. You talked to them, told them you had an issue with food, an eating disorder, or body image obsession, and you told them all of this, put the candy in the jar, and tell me how their experience was. What was their experience?
They were so excited when I, brought the candy dish out, but, they're eating it, Robin, but for the last 3 weeks, we haven't really sat down for a meal either. I kind of make the meal, and they just eat it when they want. And they tell me if they're hungry, not hungry. I mean, we kind of eat here and there and everywhere. But it's okay. I didn't know. I thought that was going to be so hard for me to, sit down at the table, and I sit there with my tea or whatever, and, maybe they eat, or, but it is not that awkward at all. It's almost freeing to them that they don't have to sit there and eat this plate of food when they're not hungry either, because they don't do very well at it.
No, have you noticed that has their food consumption gone down?
Oh, down. I think so. I mean, I was just thinking about it the other day, like, our grocery bill has dropped just because we're warming stuff up and warming it a little, like a lot smaller portions while not throwing a lot of food away. There are times when we just, the kids will just have like a bowl of cereal at 5 o'clock or whatever after school, and we don't even have dinner. They don't even eat. It's fine.
Yeah, it's more. Would you say that it's a more organic environment with the family's food consumption? It's more organic. You might have some structure at different times, and other times you need to have the leniency, and that it's more laid back. There's less pressure. You don't have to parent your kids anymore at the dinner table. And also, have you noticed that candy jar, it's not empty?
It is not empty. I can't believe it.
I don't even need to know your kids. I don't even need to know anything. As soon as you say you can have this and I'm going to refill it, all of a sudden it's like they'll have some, and then they'll be, and you might have a kid that needs to get sick on it. I've let my kids do that. Yeah. Let them get sick. Let them learn their lesson. And they naturally learn that that's not good. That stuff is toxic. If I eat too much, the key is too much, right? There's so much gray in that. Yeah, I have a candy jar too that I pretty much have out year round, and I still have some Halloween. The kids still have Halloween candy. There's still some Thanksgiving themed candy in the jar, and now I have like little tiny Christmas stuff in that jar, and they have some, but it's the forbidden fruit type of illusion with this food is just not there. So
it's not.
Yeah, I think it is so hard to raise kids in today's food mongering, food bullying, body image, judgment and shaming, body shaming. It's hard to raise kids that have true self-worth in this environment. Right. You really have to be able to do it. You as a parent have to understand what self-worth is. And would you agree that right now you have more self-worth than you have ever had in your life?
Than I've ever had. It's so true. I mean, I have a confidence about me now. It's true.
And it's true. No, I love that you said, and it's true. It's a true confidence. Can anybody make that confidence bigger than it is?
Can anybody make that?
Yeah, does anybody else have power to take away from that sense of confidence that you have or give to it, making it better?
It cannot. It has nothing to do with anybody else. I get that.
No, it's yours.
It is all my thinking.
It's yours. It's how you perceive yourself. It's how you feel your worth, how you express that worth. And God, that is such an important part, wouldn't you agree, of a happy life, regardless of the change that's going around you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you see now that you understand it yourself and you have your own personal feeling of it, that you are more likely to teach this to your children accurately?
Oh, yeah. So that just right there, that makes me ecstatic. Because I have, my kids are only 10, 9, 11, or whatever, but I think about it constantly. How can I give them self-confidence? How can I make them confident little people?
Well, you can't do it. Do you see that now? But you can help them understand how they can do it for themselves, because you know how to do it for yourself. You cannot teach this if you cannot do it for yourself.
Right.
Just by saying you're awesome, you're worthy, is that going to help them?
No.
No, they have to recognize, no matter what drama or no matter what bully or no matter what anybody says about them, that it's not true if they look in and go out, right? People can say things from the outside and say, right? But what are they projecting? They're projecting their values and what they think makes them worthy. And if they're projecting it onto other people, it's not self-worth. It's something attached worth, right? Church worth, spiritual worth, which is usually ego. There's all sorts of weird worth, food worth, health worth, right? That's what we commonly see all the time. Intellectual worth. It's always usually extrinsic. It's usually an external, like, valuing system that makes you vulnerable, right, to loss. If it's intrinsic, if it's an internal worth that you're become aware of without needing to change, without needing conditions, all of a sudden you want other people to feel the same way. So you don't want to project your business onto them.
Right.
Because you can see that's like you saying it's their job to do what you do so that they can be happy. How bizarre is that, really?
That is, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So awesome. So no, like, oh, I really wish I could lose weight. None of that?
None of that.
Thank God, right?
None of that. And I went thrifting a couple times, and I have not bought clothes that doesn't fit me.
Would you say that's not because you don't see the body as unflawed? You see your flaws, right? You could look at it and go, this and this and this is all flawed. But it's only flawed to people or to anybody that believes in that body image, diet, church religion, right?
Right.
And it's only flawed to people who think that the way you look is your spiritual worth.
Right.
So if you find that you have spiritual worth and it doesn't need a physical condition besides life and life only, what happens to this relationship between you and the body that you're in? No matter what the condition it's in, because we could pick it apart, couldn't we? I could be like, you have this much % body fat.
Right.
You are at risk for this disease and this disease and this disease, right? We could sit there and just create the illusion of pressure, which makes me money, right?
Yeah.
Makes some pharmaceutical drug money. It makes some diet nutritionist money. It makes so many people money to tell you you're flawed. But in reality, if you realize that you're not flawed, right?
Yeah. And
how does this relationship change with you and your body?
Right. You actually, I feel like just recently I appreciated it. Like, man, this thing gets me around. And then, like you said in the beginning, your body's really, really efficient with this fat. Think of it. You're just totally killing it with all this food, binging and everything. It knows how to displace it. It knows how to figure it all out. So if you think it, so I'm starting to think of my body as a pretty efficient machine.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to experience pleasure in this life, to experience love, and to experience love from loss, right?
And you are out in the foothills with your dog walking because you love it. You love the wind. You love the. I
appreciate it because I see it. Yes, because to me this is part of having being a part of a life with a body. So I'm on this planet. It's like, wouldn't you want to walk on Mars if we could? How many people would love to just walk on Mars in the foothills of Mars? Right? Well, we live on the planet Earth. I have an able body. I'm going to do what I can with this body to make the most of this time with this body. I'm not going to sit here and demand anything from it. If I end up having my legs cut off, I will find a way to continue to experience this Earth, this planet, in a way that is so rewarding. I don't have to have legs to do it. So, I literally have taken my spirit and separated it from the flesh. To me, I am not the body. But it required for me death, a near death. I've had an out-of-body experience and a near-death experience prior to committing suicide. And it was born, I believe this experience for me was born out of my desperation. So it was a gift for me to be able to feel death and to know that I had a choice in that moment to die. I don't know if you know that history, and I haven't told the whole story in any one video, but yeah, I did. I had an out of body near death, and it became very clear to me in that moment that it is a choice. I could have left this body. I don't know if I think who would have known if I had said yes and left the body, it might have manifested in a heart attack or an aneurysm, or I don't know, because I hadn't committed suicide yet. I was within I would say 48 hours of shooting myself in the head. So I was in those pre-moments of mourn and grieve. I was grieving alone because my husband didn't know and no one knew. So I had an amazing experience that I'll never forget. I feel it. Physically, my brain memorizes the whole thing. I mean, it brings me to, I sweat. My eyes are watering right now talking about it. It was altering. So much so that I got up and never have been back. It changed so abruptly. Like it changed like that for me. I got up and I had this knowledge. And I have access to information that isn't mine, right? So, what I am using to guide you is part what I did for myself, because I had to do it to understand. When I speak to other people, I have to get a sense of where they're at. And then because I have fully completed what I'm trying to get you to do, I can help from there, at least give you some form of guidance on how to do it. I'm getting better. If you watch my earlier videos, you can see that I'm working too hard, and now I've got it's very quick and easy for me now to verbalize it. But
your YouTube videos, they're excellent. I've listened to several. They're very, very good. I get little bits and pieces here and there, and But
and when you listen to someone,
I love what you just said. You
go ahead.
You left your identity with your body.
Yeah, I do not. I can sit here and say I have brown hair and I have gray, that I'm not dying yet. I can sit here and go, I'm wearing these earrings, and I have really big man hands, which is why I was such a good volleyball player. I can sit here and tell you everything about this flesh that I'm in, but it doesn't define me spiritually, and doesn't define me in terms of my integrity, because I'm using this body right now to talk to you. And how does this body come up with these words? And how can you sense my integrity? That doesn't come from the body. That comes from my alma, whatever you want to think that is. Comes from my source. That can be in a different body and you would feel the same thing because it's not coming from this flesh, right? If I took my source and put it in a completely different body, you would recognize me. You would recognize with a different voice, with a different form of communication, you would recognize this integrity and you go, this is Robin. Or this is not Robin. This is just an energy source. Who knows? Who knows? There's so much more to this that I'm still learning. Right? I'm learning truth that I feel, and I'm no different than you. This struggle that you have been in is the struggle I was in too. So I'm just in a sense a wounded healer. But when it comes down to you and your happiness and in your sense of worth, that has to be 100% yours. I can sit here and say, this is where you need to go. This is what it feels like. You need to value those feelings. You need to value that expression. And then you have to be able to say, she's right, and I'm going to do that. Even though, we could say, your mother-in-law thinks you're too fat. Your sister constantly makes comments. You could have all this chaos around you. And if you truly believe in the expression of that source that you are, and that that's the most valuable thing, does it matter what anybody says?
Right. It does not matter.
No, not even me. Right? So I can give you this guidance. Once you do it, all of a sudden what happens to the power that you've had this whole time? Well, now it's usable because you're now
it's usable
aware.
And probably I won't even hear the other chatter or the thinking that I that I think my mother-in-law thinks I'm too fat, or I think my sister said this because she's thinking this. I mean, it's all in my head, right? Most of it's probably in my head.
Well, you could say that, but if it is true, let's just say, for example, it's true that they're making this, they judge you for whatever reason. You no longer see them as offenders. You see them as people who need to love themselves.
Oh, yeah.
It just totally changes. So you no longer defend yourself.
Oh, yeah. Right. Because right now, it's about them and what they think. Right.
And how they feel, and it's like, it's just sad they don't really understand their own worth.
Right.
And they have it. It's like we're all connected in this world. We're all connected. We're all pulling it for humanity. And if we continue to distract ourselves with something as stupid as, what's your hair look? Are you attractive enough? What's your waist size? Or what type of food are you eating? It's like we're really distracting from some really important things in terms of loving this life that we have and loving our own, humanity.
Enjoying each other. Yeah, exactly. Enjoying one another, right? Yeah.
Deep thoughts. Thanks for letting me share this. I'm going to end this right now and we'll finish.